Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the Living One. A lot of discord has been going on in my mind the last few days. I've been under attack from Satan, who can make war with the beast. They worship the dragon, who had given authority to the beast. The dragon gave authority to the beast. Who are the beast? The United Nations. Who is the dragon? It is Satan. It is the devil. It is the dragon that was thrown down. The beast, they are a draconian race. That's what they are. I think it's a dragon. Yes, a draconian race. That's what the beast is. And the beast is 666. It's a draconian race. All right? So they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast and who can wage war against it? You see, the beast, the belly of the beast is this simulation that we live in. And it has everything to do with, here's your beast right here, images of troops marching in ranks. Well, why do I say this? Because these are Gentiles, all right? And the definition for a Gentile in the Bible is a troop of animals. What do you think these are? These are troops of animals. The definition of a Gentile in the Bible is a flight of locusts. Our country is a flight of locusts. Okay? Images of an F-14. There you go. What is it? It's a Phantom. Okay? It's a Tomcat, an F-14 Phantom. Okay? Every aircraft that exists in our military, aircrafts named after vampires. There you go. The De Havilland Vampire was a jet-powered twin-boom aircraft typically employed in the fighter and fighter bomb roles. Okay? Military aircraft named after phantoms. Military aircraft named after phantoms.
According to National Museum of the...
Right there. Okay, the Douglas F-4C. Right there. All our aircraft named after phantoms, vampires. Military aircraft named after devils. There you go. Devils. Okay, I ain't making shit up. Okay, you guys starting to see a pattern here? Military aircraft named after demons. You starting to see a pattern here? You starting to understand what it is I'm showing you? Okay? What is the definition of a phantom? A ghost. A phantom is a ghost. Military aircraft named after ghosts. The AC-130J Ghost Rider. Why is it called a Ghost Rider? Because everything that's on these aircraft are ghosts. They're demons. They're devils. Are you starting to see the pattern? Am I explaining it to you in layman's terms enough that you can understand what it is that I'm sharing with you? So a phantom is a ghost, the figment of the imagination. It's a hallucination. What does that have to do with anything? Genesis chapter 1 verse 27 Bible Hub. It has to do with this. Because this God here is Elohim. You see that? Elohim. Right here. Elohim. 3 times I said it for you. Lord Elohim, 666. So there isn't anybody on the face of this earth today that's breaking this information down for you. Okay, ministers can talk to you till they're blue in their face. They're not teaching you anything. All right? I am so sick of these SERPy. Listen. Okay. One of the reasons why I'm buffering in all of this is because about almost 33 years ago, my children were removed from the home because of the drugs inside of the house. I called CPS on my wife then, who we were going through mediation through the courts. She had got pregnant with my second child, my son. His name is Kenny. And during the pregnancy, she started spotting. Took her to the hospital. Doctor said that the placenta was detaching, and that's why she was spotting. He gave her instructions to stay at home. He said to her not to do any cooking, not to do anything. Stay off your feet, keep them elevated, and let me take care. Your husband has to take care of you. So I was working and taking care of my wife, and I was okay with that. But one day I came home from work. My boss, I was a carpet cleaner and installer then, so it allowed me to travel back and forth through the county that I lived. And it just so happened that my boss that morning said to me, "Hey, I got a job over off Grand Avenue in Escondido, man. Can you cover that job?" And I said, "Yeah, man, I'll stop by my house and I'll have lunch and I'll see how my wife's doing." So he gave me the address to the job, and it was right there in the same complex that I live. Awesome, right? I thought, this is wonderful. So I walk inside of the house, and there's my wife on the floor doing setups, purposely trying to kill my son. He was born premature at 2 pounds 1 ounces. My little boy could fit in my hand. His little legs draped over my hand. Of course, they didn't let me handle him for the first 3 months. He was so small and tiny. His lungs hadn't developed. He had a hole in his heart because his heart hadn't fully developed. And you know, I loved my little boy. So we were going through the courts, the social services, and the social services set up a reunification plan for both the mother and I. So when I was 25, I OD'd on crystal methamphetamine. My wife used to say to me, "Well, I don't have a drug problem. You're the one with the drug problem. You're the one that OD'd." Right? So a plan was set up for the reunification program. The courts wanted me to drug test. They wanted me to go to AA. They wanted me to get a job and maintain a job. They wanted me to get a place of my own and maintain stability. They wanted me to do AA meetings, and I had to comply with all of these rules and stuff and drug test, the whole works, for 2 years. That was the reunification plan. And at the end of 2 years, when you looked at the reunification plan, I had completed everything with complete honors. Perfectly. Everything. Did it for the state and jumped through their fucking hoops. But guess what? When it came time to give me my daughter back, my son was still very, very small. He was a medically fragile child. He needed special care. A lot of care. And that special care wouldn't have allowed me to work. I would have lost my job again and all that. He just required too much medical attention. So they put him in a medically fragile foster care home. And my boy, they told me that he probably wouldn't live past the age of 6 or 7 because of all his medical conditions. It broke my heart. It cut me. Talking about what I'm going to share with you cuts me. You understand? So years later, 7 or 8 years later, my son would have been around 7 or 8 years old, somewhere around there. I called the medically fragile foster care mother who was taking care of him at that time, Jan and her husband, Marvin Curving. Well, when I called Jan and Marvin Curving, they had told me that, when I was talking to her, I told her that I wanted, if she knew where my son was at and if I could chat with him. She told me that he had moved to Virginia, and she was sorry to report bad news that my son had died. And Leah Khan, who was my children's social worker, she was the one that stood inside of the courts after I complied with all the court orders and told the judge that morning, though Mr. Carpenter has made great strides, we don't still feel that he's yet ready to take on the responsibility of his daughter. And that ruined me. And I talked to my sister about this on the phone. And she said they wanted me to jump through hoops for him for another year. But rather than jumping through the hoops for him another year, it caused me to relapse. Why? Because the dark entity on this plane of existence, the evil one, the one here that you're not supposed to make, that you can't wage war against, was waging war against me because Satan hates. He hates and he loves to kill and destroy and beat down, throw down. He loves to tear families apart. He loves pain. He loves grief. And that's what he feeds off of. Okay, and when this God here, Elohim here, Lord Elohim, is 666. Elohim 666 created a man in his own image. So you have a God that's creating a man in his own image, and then you have another God, the supreme creator, the one that gave the commandments telling you that you're not to worship any graven images. This God created a man in an image. And then you got a God saying not to create a man or not to worship any graven images. And in the image of God, he created him, one man. This God created himself, properly self, a male and female. This God created himself a transgender energy force. This is why our children on the face of this earth think that they're gay. And they ask that question, well, if God loved me, if God didn't want me being like this, then why would he make me like this? Because this God is the fallen angel. This God is Elohim. This God is an evil God that created man in his image. This is why you have people in the LBGTQ&A marching through the streets saying this. Remember, these people are about pride. Look at what you got. The insanity of this. It's horrifying. All right? Okay, that's enough. Look at this sack of fucking potatoes here. This rotten sack with her little titty dollar. Her little freaking areolas exposed to the world. Okay? Anybody who's screaming through the streets saying that they're here and they're queer and they're coming for your children, come marching down my street like that. You'll find an AR-15 shattering bullets on all of your asses, is what you'll find. You see, I never had a problem with the LBGTQ&A before. I didn't when I was sleeping, when I had scales on my eyes. But anybody who takes their penis and sticks it up the backside of another man's ass and copulates their life force inside of feces is not the natural order of life. It's that simple. Why? Because this God who created himself is an energy transgender force. That's why you people are marching through the streets saying you're here and queer, coming for people's children. Who would allow such a... this is horrid to me, okay? This is war to me. So, I make war with the beast. Who can wage war against the beast? I've been waging war against the beast. I called Satan out. I told Satan, if God gives me what it is I seek today, and he finds grace, he gives me salvation, he allows me to leave, then I have asked the Creator, the Supreme Creator, and I don't know how it works. I don't know if He'll send me back in a flesh suit or if He'll just let me wield the spiritual sword and none of you will see me on the other side of the realm. Okay? And anybody who's marching through the streets like this thinking that they're pride, gay pride, remember folks, pride was the cause of the fall. The story is that Iblis is what they call them in Islam that came into the garden. Understand that this God that created man in an image is the first man, Adam. He created the first man, Adam, a male and a female. That's confirmed here in 1545 Corinthians Bible Hub. Let's go ahead. It is sown a natural body, flesh. Natural body is flesh. It is raised a spiritual body, soul. A soul. If there is a natural body, there is also a soul in that body. So it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being, which is a lie. The first man, Adam, is the walking dead because it's created in an image of God, and an image is a phantom is a ghost, and a ghost is the spirit of the dead. The last Adam is a life-giving spirit. What's that? A first Adam and a last Adam. Look at it. First Adam and a last Adam. That means there's two Adams. What does that say to you? It says duality exists. One was created good, the other was created evil. It's that simple. And the one that was created evil was created first. Evil was created first on the sixth day of creation, and that has everything to do with Revelations 13:18. Here's a call for wisdom. Let the one within sight calculate the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay? That's what this boy here, me, I've been studying for years, breaking down this parable 666 for you all to see. All right? The gods of this plane of existence are all of the devil. All of them. Jesus, Yah is Lord, 666. No, nobody likes hearing this. God of Israel, 666. Now there is a chosen people, and those chosen people are a gift of life. They are the gift of life. And you got to understand, Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, Bible Hub, the supreme creator that uses everything to his glory, Yahweh included, to his glory, because Yahweh is the God of Israel. I will bless those that bless you. I will bless those Gentile that bless you, Hebrew. And I will curse those Gentile who curse you, Israel. And all the families of the earth will be blessed through you. So, in order for there to be peace for you, individual, in your mind, in your head, that peace can only come through the Spirit of truth. I'll leave it at that right there. And jumping into 1 Samuel 1, the birth of Samuel, there was a certain man from Ramathaim, a Zuphite, from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Toha, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had two wives, one was called Hannah, and the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Years after, before I even continue, it seems that there's always one of God's children that can have children and one that can't. It's read the same way as the New Testament. It's repetition. It's over and over and over. Years after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice to the Lord Almighty at Shiloh. Lord Almighty. You know, I've never even checked that one out. Probably doesn't reach it. Let's see. Lord Almighty, what does it say? 864. Well, thank goodness for that. You know, sometimes when I put these posts in here, I don't want it to be 666. Because every time I find a God that comes to 666, you got to take into account what it is I'm sharing with you. You can't dismiss this information. Okay? Where Hophni and Phinehas, the two sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. The Lord in this case is Yahweh. This is God of Israel. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife, Peninnah, and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion because he loved her. And the Lord had closed her womb. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. This is buffering. I'm buffering. This went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and would not eat. Her husband, Elkanah, would say to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why do you not eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? Now, before I continue, man, I would like to throw out a few shout-outs. First for Gravy Train, one of my dear close friends, Hebrew woman. Blessings to you and your family. Your very special gift to life, to this world. Thank you for being around. Thank you for talking with me. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for bringing scriptures to me. You mean the world. Blessings. Blessings to you, my dear lady. Also, Ali, another friend of mine, a dear friend. Blessings to you and your family. Binky Boo, thank you for all your comments. You mean the world to me. All of you that I mention, you mean the world to me. I am grateful for all your comments. We are in an evil, evil place. And I need you to know that I'm very grateful for your friendship. MTV the ET, another Hebrew Israelite brother. Okay, in this world, folks, we've been crossbreeding so much so a white man can carry the seed of the living. Two parents that are of evil, like me and my wife, we were evil in our drugs, and we conceived a child. Okay, the down part of that whole story that I was telling you about my son is she told me when I called to talk to my son when he's 7 or 8 years old, years later, to see how he's doing, that woman, Jan Curving, had told me that my son was dead. All right? And I lived with that my entire life. So when I say that this world is like a roller coaster ride, it's a yo-yo ride, I just found out days ago that my son never died, that woman lied to me. And I thought that my kid was dead for like 23, 25 years. I thought that he was gone. I didn't think that I have a son. Do you know how horrifying that is for me to find out that I have a son today? It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Also, my brother Rakima, who I'm very grateful for, all his videos, such a soft, kind soul. I'm in this fight. I'm in this fight, folks, because I love God today. Well, I love the Supreme Spirit. I don't know. There's God in the Bible to me today almost seems like a dirty word. The Lord, which is Yahweh, almost like a dirty word. If God of Israel comes to 666, they're talking about Yahweh. Doesn't matter if it's Yahweh or Jehovah or anything, it's coming to 666. And if it's pasted with 666 next to it, you can bet your ass I'm not worshiping it. I'm worshiping the Spirit of Truth. Jeremy Rodriguez. Haven't heard from him for a while, but he's also a subscriber that I'm grateful for. Soulful, a new subscriber as well. I'm grateful for her content and her videos. I'm grateful for anybody who's awake and sees the truth. It's important to know the truth and to walk in the truth. Also, Renzo Vargas. I don't get a lot of comments. So you've just got to know in your heart, folks, that I am grateful for those that leave comments. I'm grateful for whoever it is that smashes that like button one time. You know, you're dear to my heart. You're very pleasing to my soul. Okay? And because I've waged war against the Satan here, where are you at? Revelations, give me a second. I told the beast, man, that I was going to wage war with him. Well, I can't wage war against the beast. I can't kill every person in the nation. They could take me out by the snap of their finger. One little pulled trigger and I'm done, right? But this is a spiritual war, and when you're walking with God and you have his spiritual shield, I don't wear armor anymore, folks. Armor is metal. Okay, I wear the spiritual shield that guides me, an invisible shield. I don't need to wear any armor. These sayings are trickery. This English language is word magic. So I told the beasts, I told Satan, when my soul is released from this body, that I'm going to hunt his ass down. I'm going to gut him. I'm going to wage war against the beast. I do it every day. Every morning I repent to the Supreme Spirit. Every night I repent. I repent with a contrite heart. I bow down before the Supreme Creator, and I ask for his Spirit to always be upon me, so that I can walk straight and upright. And there are others too as well. But see, I don't throw out a bunch of shout outs because I'm not here to kiss anybody's ass. Okay, I'm here to get a job and get it done. My job is to expose the beast. My job is to show you that the military and the government are not your friends. My job is to get you to stop voting for mankind and put your trust in the Spirit of truth, the living one, the supreme authority that moves all things in place, the Most High, the Almighty. I can worship all of these titles that are given to the Creator without putting a name next to him. I don't have to do that. If I'm going to fry for not calling the Creator, the Supreme Being, the Master, the authority, the one that moves all things in place by name, then that's pretty harsh to destroy somebody and say, well, you didn't call me by my name. Well, I don't trust anybody anymore to tell me what God's name is. I don't trust anybody to tell me what the Most High's name is. Because when you're born into this plane of existence, you are born into it with the memory wipe. You are born into a system of liars. Do you think that anybody on the plane of this existence is going to allow you to learn about the Supreme Creator? You got to get in this Bible and learn it yourself. So much love to all you subscribers that listen and pay attention and share with me and leave comments and smash the like button. I love you. I am in service to the Supreme Creator. If you ever need anything, you can contact me at my email. It's on the channel. Anybody needs anything, I'm always available. My ears are open to those that want to hear the truth. I love you. Back to the lesson. Once, when they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorpost of the Lord's house, Yahweh. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, Yahweh, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow, saying, Lord Yahweh Almighty, if you will look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor will ever be used on his head. As she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk and said to her, How long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine. Not so, my lord, Hannah replied. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. Eli answered, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked. Remember, folks, God of Israel in English gematria is 666. Also, the number skull and bones. Also, it's an unlawful act. These are all numbers in the Strong's Concordance. You can go look them up themselves. Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. Now remember, folks, God of Israel is both an evil and a good God. I showed you guys a video the other day of a woman telling you how God of Israel sprinkles a little bit of love, but deep down inside he has this hate. Well, yes, God is both good and evil. He has to be both good and evil in order to teach you what good and evil is. Understand that a supreme creator would know everything. He knows both good and evil. He's placed us inside this plane of existence underneath of a vault of heaven, pinned us inside of a flesh suit, and teaches us right from wrong. How does he teach us? He teaches the Israelites, the human being, the beautiful people of the Most High, he teaches them through the Gentile. You see, he has given you instructions to stay out of the towns and cities of the Samaritans. So when you go, if you don't stay out of the towns and the cities of the Samaritans, what you do is you take on their gods. It's the second, or it's the very first commandment. You shall have no other God before me. So the supreme spirit of truth and also the supreme spirit of lies, who is one God, divided himself. He created a divinity of himself, which he gave power. Okay? This divinity that has power of evil is what he uses to correct us all in due measure. So if you're out raping a child and stuff, you will be raped. Okay? Maybe not in this life, but maybe the Supreme Spirit will send you back to this hellhole again. But only this time here, he's going to make sure it's you that gets raped. He's going to make sure that it's your head that is crushed. He's going to make sure that it's your ass that is plunged. He's going to make sure that all the evil that you've performed will be performed on you. Not only performed on you, but performed on you tenfold. Okay? That's probably all those people out there in the gutters on the streets that have been reborn into this plane of existence because of the evil that they may have done in a past life. Now, do past lives exist? I don't know. The Hindus seem to surely think that they exist. But I don't know. If this place is eternal hell and we are eternal beings, then it makes sense to me that we would all be born back into this plane of existence again to receive what it was you give. So if you're giving love and you're being kind and you're not voting for politicians, because once you vote a politician into office, that demon that's inside that politician has control over your body. You're nothing but a biological robot for that. It's horrifying that people march through the streets and can't identify that the left wing and right wing are two wings of the same head. Okay? They're all controlled by the Vatican. This is why every nation in the world and all their presidents always meet with the Pope, because the Pope is the head. The left and right wings are both controlled by the Pope. She said, "May your servant find favor in your eyes." Then she went her way and ate something, and her face was no longer downcast. Early the next morning they rose and worshipped before the Lord Yahweh, and then went back to their home at Ramah. Elkanah made love to his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. So in the course of time, Hannah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Samuel, saying, because I asked the Lord for... Excuse me, I just got done eating. Because I asked the Lord for him, Hannah dedicates Samuel. When her husband Elkanah went up with all his family to offer the annual sacrifice to the Lord Yahweh and to fulfill his vow, Hannah did not go. She said to her husband, after the boy is weaned, I will take him and present him before the Lord, and he will live there always. Do what seems best to you, her husband Elkanah told her. Stay here until you have weaned him. Only may the Lord Yahweh make good his word. So the woman stayed at home and nursed her son until she had weaned him. After he was weaned, she took the boy with her, young as he was, along with 3 young old bulls, an ephah of flour, and a skin of wine, and brought him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, when the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli. Remember, folks, look right here. Here Isaiah 1:11 says, hear the word, well, we'll start at 10. Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom. Listen to the instructions of our God, Elohim. Remember, there's good Elohim and there's bad Elohim. Duality must exist. You people of Gomorrah, Sodom and Gomorrah, you guys that like to fornicate with your same sex, what good to me is your multitudes of sacrifices, says the Lord Yahweh, God of Israel. The Jewish name is called Jehovah. Okay? I am full from the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of well-fed cattle. Hold on. A Lord is full? His belly is full? Then that is not anything in the flesh cannot be the supreme creator, but something that is used. I am full from your burnt offerings of rams and fat of well-fed cattle. I take no delight in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. Folks, along with 3 young old bulls. I didn't write the Bible. I'm just pointing it out. An ephah of flour. And let me be clear, because a lot of people in Israel seem to be worried about what I'm teaching. So let me share this with you. The prophets, in my eyes, were beautiful people. They walked righteous lives. They did what was right before the Lord. They didn't kill, they didn't murder, they didn't do these things. This story has been hijacked by the devil. This book has been written now by the Gentile. He has his hands all up in it. Everything has been changed in it. The children of the Most High are not murderers. I don't believe in these sacrifices and stuff. I think righteousness is just simply admitting your transgressions against the Supreme Creator and doing the best you can to stay out of sin. I believe that this book is changed and that the prophets of the Most High have been turned into rotten people, and they're not, because you have to have duality on this place. But let me say this. If the Spirit of truth, the living one, removed all his children that he had his hand on, this place, this plane of existence, would plummet into supreme death with nobody teaching the truth. My truth comes from the Spirit of truth. I worship the Spirit of truth. I worship the Almighty. I worship the all-seeing and all you cannot see, the visible and invisible. I worship the One. I worship the point of singularity. I do not worship God by a name. I do not worship God. I worship the Spirit. I do not worship Elohim. I do not worship anything that is of this plane of existence. In order to get out of this plane of existence, you must be contrite, confess your sins, and turn and walk away from the world. You must leave the world. Okay? To the house of the Lord at Shiloh. When the bull had been sacrificed, they brought the boy to Eli. And she said to him, "Pardon me, my lord. As surely as you live, I am the woman who stood here beside you praying to the Lord. I pray for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to you to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord Yahweh." And he worshipped the Lord there. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth. May you find peace and love and light. Anaya Obadiah, another beautiful soul. Blessings to you, my dear sister. Blessings to your family. I love you. I love all those that are in service to the Supreme Spirit. Those that are not in service to the Supreme Spirit shall surely die. Your salvation shall never be. You will be left into the hands of the beast. You will be left in this realm for eternity. It's that simple. Give praise to the Supreme Creator. Much love. This is White Raptor News Ministries.